Is public speaking a problem for you? In today's video, we are going to discuss about presentation skills. We'll be checking out the different types of presentations, how to prepare a good presentation, criteria to be taken care of while making a presentation, and a secret tip that would be good to follow at the end of any presentation. Welcome to EduGarnet. I'm Kala Deepak. Presentations can be of different types. Academic related, that is presentations made by students at school or college level as part of their studies. It can also be professional related, that is presentations made by employers or employees as part of their job, like presentations made to their team members based on their ongoing project or upcoming project. Or even presentations can be made by marketing persons to their customers as part of promotion of their product. Presentations can also be like public presentations made by public figures to the audience. Today, we are not going to deal about any one type of presentation, but we are going to check out the common criteria that have to be taken care of while making any such presentation. The success criteria of any presentation is surely the confidence of the presenter. Now, where does the confidence come from? It surely comes from the understanding of the topic. First, the presenter must understand the topic very well. And for understanding the topic, collect as much information as possible regarding the topic. And in today's world, of course, it's not a difficult task to collect information about any topic. So collect as much as you can. Don't think this much is enough. No, keep on collecting as much as you can. As much points as you keep on collecting, that much your confidence keeps on boosting. So understanding the topic, you can say, is directly proportional to your confidence. As you keep on understanding your topic, on the other hand, your confidence keeps on boosting up. Once you have collected the sufficient points for your topic, make a rough idea about your topics. Make a rough arrangement about the points that you have collected. What are you going to say first, then towards the end, what are you going to conclude with? Make a rough idea. Arrange all the points that you have collected in the best possible way. And if you're still keeping on collecting points, inject that points also to the correct area. Now, after you have made a rough idea about your presentation, before you make the final idea about the presentation, you have to understand one more thing, and that is understand your audience. Make a good idea about the audience, to which category you're going to make this presentation. That is very essential. In some cases, you may be already aware about your audience. It is going to be of this particular age group or this particular qualification. You may be aware. At times, some external party may be inviting you for the presentation for maybe some special occasion. At that time, surely you have to inquire to your organizers about your audience. What category is my audience going to be? Maybe it can be of any particular segment. Sometimes it can be a mixture. So whatever it may be, you will, before you make the final preparation of your presentation, you have to surely have an understanding about your audience, about the category of your audience. With that understanding, you have to make the final preparation of your presentation. Now, when you're making the preparation, another supporting factor that can come for your presentation is PPT. Surely PPTs, PowerPoint presentations, can be a supporting factor. But when you're preparing your PPT, the golden rule that you have to take care is always make sure that the PPT never dominates you. PPT should always remain as your supporting factor. Never should it dominate you. For example, when we watch a movie, we can have actors, the main people who play the main roles, and we also have supporting actors, right? So the actors always will play the main role. Supporting actors do play well. They do provide a good support to the actors, but they remain as the supporting actors and the lead roles are played by the main actors. In the same way, the presenter should always be the main actor. That should never be dominated by the PPT. So make sure of that. So you have to prepare your PPT in such a way. And the main point that you have to take care while preparing your PPTs should not have paragraphs in it. That is very weird. You should never include paragraphs, long paragraphs in your PPTs. At times we can see certain presentations, PPTs, where the presenter includes big paragraphs, lengthy paragraphs. That's very bad. Never include big paragraphs in your PPT. Try to make your point as short as possible. Try to make the length of your point as short as possible. Trim it down as much as possible, and all the points should be arranged in the form of bullet points. And try to keep your PPT as simple as possible, especially when it is a formal PPT. You need not make it very colorful and all. Try to maintain it as simple as possible with very short bullet points. Now, what is the prime purpose of the PPT? One, and the main purpose of the PPT is to support you, the presenter. Because we are all human beings, we may have a tendency to skip certain points or to skip the order of certain points while we are making the presentation. So, in such situations, PPT can be surely a support for us. When we just have a glance at the PPT, we can have an idea, okay, what am I going to speak about next? What all are the various points that you have to include in this? Everything will jump to your mind. So PPTs should be such supporting factors and just a small entertainment for the audience. And another purpose of the PPT is that you can give some pictorial representations also of the topic that you're speaking about. In case the topic that you're speaking about requires some pictorial representations, that also you can include in your PPT. These are the sole purpose of the PPT. So always try to include very short points in your PPT, and you have to expand over those short points. That is the role of the presenter. Like certain ingredients can increase the taste of dishes, the one ingredient that will surely increase the quality of your presentation, the attractiveness of your presentation is, as we discussed earlier, your confidence, the confidence of the presenter. So first, to increase the confidence, we collected as much points as possible. Then we understood the audience and we made a good presentation. Now the presentation is ready, but that's not enough to increase your confidence. Make a good rehearsal. So the next point is a rehearsal. Make as much rehearsals as possible about the presentation that you have just prepared. So unless you have made a good rehearsal, a good preparation will not do any help. So do as much rehearsals as possible. As the number of rehearsals increases on one side, as I told earlier, on the other side, your confidence will keep on increasing, and that will surely be reflected in your presentation. Another thing that you have to take care while you're making the rehearsal is, in case we have a power failure at the venue, in case such sort of issues arise, we may not be able to make use of our laptop. In such situations also, you should be able to move on with your presentation without any break. So make sure you do such a presentation that you are ready to handle your topic without the help of any external support. But still, you can have a notepad with you, wherein you have noted down all the essential points, maybe the bullet points that you have made in your PPT. The same points, please note down in a notepad so that in case it's required, you can have a look. So now, what all have we done? First, we understood the topic of the presentation very well. We collected as much points as possible. We understood the audience, and based on the understanding of the audience, we arranged the collected points in the best possible way. We made adequate rehearsals, and now we are very much confident because we have everything at our hand. After making the rehearsals, we are all the more confident also. We are set for the presentation. Now the next factor, we just have to step out to the presentation, but before we move on to the presentation, in between there is a bridge that has to be filled, and that is our grooming. Grooming part has to be taken care of. Now sometimes we may have we may be making some informal presentations. In that case, it may be okay to have an informal grooming also. But in the informal part itself, try to be your best. But most of the times, presentations may be formal. In that case, try to be in a formal outfit. Grooming part can include several criteria from your head to toe. Anything can come under grooming for both ladies and men. Your hair, your makeup, your lipstick, your nails. If you're not planning to cut off your nails, your nail polish, your dress, your shoe, everything comes under the grooming part. So take care about your head to toe in the grooming part. Try to be in the best possible way you can, so that the grooming part will also boost up your confidence. So do whatever you can to boost up your confidence. So preparation and grooming, when combined together, preparation, rehearsal plus grooming combined together, should surely boost up your confidence. One more thing, though you may be well groomed while you're leaving your house, you may not be that well groomed when you reach your venue. Of course, there's the traveling in between. So try to have a comb, a powder and a lip glow or something along with you. Whether you are a female or a male, try to carry at least these 3 commodities with you, so that once you reach the venue, you can have a visit to the restroom and tidy yourself up. Otherwise, again, you will lose your confidence. Oh, I was really tidy when I left the house, but now look at me. My hairs are all flying in the air and my grooming is all gone. It may surely affect your confidence. Now we are all set for the presentation. Preparation part, grooming part, everything is over. Now the another point that you have to take care is always be before time to your venue. Always don't think, okay, this is my time, I'll try to be late. It's 10 o'clock, let me be there by 10:10. No, try to reach your venue at least half an hour before your time. It will be always good to be before time. Now, why you have to reach the venue before the time? Because you can make the required arrangements at your venue. Only you know what all arrangements you require for your presentation. So you can communicate that with your organizers, and before the audience reaches the venue, you can make the required arrangements. Otherwise, what will happen after the audience reaches and in their presence, you will have to make all these arrangements, and you don't know what will be the situation there. At times there can be some problems, so at times you won't be able to make the required arrangements, and that can create disturbance among the audience. Whichever age group they belong to, it can create certain disturbance in them, and that can affect your presentation also. So why to create unnecessary problem? Again, it's our sole responsibility to take care of our presentation, right? So as part of our presentation self, just take care of this also. Try to reach the venue before time and make all the required arrangement, if possible, before the audience reach the venue. Now we can start with the presentation. We have made all the arrangements, everything is complete. Let's start with the presentation. Always when you start with your presentation, try to attract your audience during the first half itself. That's very essential. That means the introduction part is very essential. Try to exclude formal talkings, include more of informal talks or maybe certain jokes, and try to bring the audience on your hands. Take your audience in your hands. Sometimes before the presentation, it is possible certain problems may occur. Like maybe before the presentation, maybe you may have a power failure or maybe some technical issues, and maybe you have wasted some time of your presentation. And all this while maybe your audience were waiting. So they may have got a bit bored. So you have to handle the situation. That's your sole responsibility, because maybe for the next 1 hour, you are going 1 hour or 1.5 hours or 2 hours, what may be the duration of your presentation, you're going to deal with them. So more than the organizers, it is your sole responsibility to handle the situation, to take them in your hands. So for that, try to crack some jokes or try to do some sort of such tricky things so that you can take the audience in the first sentence itself, you can take them in your hands, so that for the next few hours they'll be surely yours. Body language is a very essential factor for any presentation. Your body language again shows your confidence. So take care of your body language. Try to exclude over walking. Over movements will not be required. Try to restrict your movements. But some short movements are always good in case you have a very big audience. At times, if not always, at times, just have a small walk so that you can just have a look into your audience who are sitting at the back. So, but still try to reduce your walking movements. You can use your hands, you can use your facial expressions, which would be really good. Always try to keep the smile in your face. Begin with a smile and always try to maintain a smile in your face, because looking at the weird face would always be really boring for the audience, because they have nothing to do. They are just staring at you, right? Nothing else they can do. So that's a very boring thing to sit for a few hours staring at a single person. So you have to understand that. Don't complain your audience, don't complain about the audience. Such a boring audience, they're just simply staring at me. What else can they do? They can only stare at you. You are the person who have to understand that. So try to make your presentation interesting so they can also smile, they can also listen to you rather than just staring at you. Another thing that you have to take care is, in case your presentation is a very long one, like you're planning to make a 1.5 hour or 2 hour or 2.5 hour or even a more duration of presentation, you have to always include jokes and stories in between. Some small stories would always be good, because any age category would love to listen to stories. Maybe stories related to you personally can also have an interesting fact on them when they listen to stories that are maybe personally related to you. So if such, maybe it may not be true, but still you can include such stories so that at times even the sleeping persons will wake up and listen to that story. Okay, what is that? She's going to say some interesting story. Now, what is that? They will listen to you. So including such stories or jokes in between the presentation would always be really good. Eye contact is also an important criteria under the body language part. Eye contact is very essential as you make use of your body, like your hands and your face, your smile and everything. You have to always give a good eye contact to your audience. Eye contact means have a look, or try to have a look at all your audience. Try to cover up everybody at least once in a while. Of course, you may have to look at some part of the audience for the major part. Maybe those part who are giving you a more of eye contact, you may look at them. But even if there is a part of the audience who are not looking at you or who are not listening to you, at a while, you have to stare at them also. Give them also a look. Make them have a feeling that you are giving them also a consideration. So give a good eye contact. Try to give a good eye contact to the entire audience so that automatically they will also listen to you. Voice modulation. Voice modulation is very essential. Suppose if I am talking to you in the same monotonous tone for the entire presentation, you may feel a bit bored, right? So always a voice modulation is very essential. Voice modulation in the sense, when you're trying to focus on certain points, try to raise your voice. And when you are talking about certain factors, you can lower your voice also, like I did right now. So try to make a good voice modulation so that can also have an impact on your audience. So that means, like to make a good chicken curry, you will have to have a good set of ingredients in the right proportion. In the same way, to make a good presentation, to have a good presentation, there are certain ingredients that have to be included in the right proportion. So what are those ingredients? Let's just rewind up. Firstly, collect as much points as possible. That is one ingredient. Then secondly, make an understanding about your audience, and according to your understanding made, make a good presentation. Then make a good PPT so that it can be a supporting factor for you. Make very good rehearsals. Do rehearsals as many times as possible. Each time you make the rehearsal, your confidence will keep on increasing. Your presentation will become more perfect. Then the body language. When you're doing the rehearsal itself, give importance to the body language also. Your walking movements, usage of your hand, your smiling face, your eye contact, your voice modulation, all this comes under body language. So while you're doing the rehearsals itself, try to include these body language aspects onto your presentation. And then when you realize that you have reached the end of your presentation, always remember to just rewind all the points that you have discussed in your presentation, like I did right now. I just rewinded again all the points, right? This is what we did first, then this, then this. Similarly, when you are doing a presentation also, towards the end of the presentation, don't just stop it as it is. You have to discuss the points. You have to just rewind all the points. Just freshen up all the points once again, so that the audience will feel at the end of the presentation, okay, I have received something from this presentation. These are the things that I have received from this presentation. And it will be also good to state it in the form of numbers. Number 1 do this, number 2 this, number 3 this, number 4 this, number 5 this, and at the end you can say, see, we have discussed 5 points. So that again the audience will feel, oh, I received 5 good points from this presentation. Now the conclusion. Try to make your conclusion as interesting as possible as your introduction, because your conclusion will have the effect on the audience. Introduction was having the effect only in the beginning part. Now you have reached the end. So the conclusion is going to leave the after effect on the audience. So to have an after effect on the audience, for them to say a good word about your presentation, your conclusion is also very important. Now, let us discuss some secret tips that you have to take care while you are making the presentation. 1. While you are making the presentation, always have a good understanding, a good observation about your audience. Understand your audience very well. The only people that you have to take care about is your audience, nobody else, while you're making the presentation. So while you're making the presentation, have a keen observation on your audience. What are the expressions that they are giving you? What are the types of looks that they are giving you? When you're speaking on certain points, you can see that the audience look very interesting. They may, their eyes may rise a bit, they may come forward, they may be listening to you like this, and through such body languages of the audience, you as a presenter can understand that they are feeling interesting about the point that you are discussing about. So try to boost that particular point some more, because anyway they are liking it. So increase on that a bit more. Try to say some comedies, try to say some stories, and try to flourish that point a bit more. And again, when you are discussing certain points, you can feel that the audience are not liking it much, or they are not feeling that interested. So reduce on that point. Try to not increase the lag, just reduce it. Just try to stop it and move on to the next point. So always, if you observe the audience keenly itself, you can make a good presentation. And again, after the presentation, one thing that you have to take care is, always at times doubts. Some audience can raise certain doubts regarding the topic that you are presenting in between the presentation. So always confine all the doubts towards the end of the presentation. Communicate to the audience before the presentation itself. In case you have any doubts, I shall be clearing all the doubts, but at the end of the presentation. Let's first complete the presentation, note down all your doubts during the presentation, and we'll be discussing it at the end of the presentation. It would be good to keep the doubts towards the end. Otherwise, what will happen? In case while you're making the presentation in a very interesting and energetic way, you're moving on with the presentation, and suddenly somebody comes with the doubt, you will be occupied with it. Maybe based on that doubt, somebody else may ask a doubt, and then it will go on like that, and the situation will move out of your hand, and you will lose the flow of your presentation also. So it's always good to confine the doubts towards the end of the presentation. Now, when you have reached the end of the presentation, you will have to deal with the doubts in case if there is any. In case you have some lack of confidence or some worry in the doubt clearing session, now what sort of doubts are these people going to ask me? Will I be able to answer all of them? If you are occupied with such worries, what you can do is, a secret tip, what you can do is, just switch off your mic and you can ask the audience, those who have a doubt, please raise your hand, I shall come up to you. Just switch off your mic, you don't need your mic anymore. Now those who have the doubts, they will raise their hand. You walk over to them, you go to them personally, ask them what is the doubt, crack one or two jokes with them and the friends who are sitting close to them, their gang of friends, and then try to clarify their doubt. So it won't be a big problem. In case they're asking a question that maybe you're not able to answer also, it won't be much of an issue. It won't create an impact on you or on your presentation. It won't be a problem. You will be able to answer it. So it's always, but if you are really confident, if you have no worries at all about the doubt clearance part, then no problem, you can clear the doubts publicly itself. But if you have any such worries, it's always good to say, you can raise your hand, I shall come over to you and clear your doubts and switch off your mic. So that in one way the amount of doubt will reduce also, and you can clear it up in a friendly manner also. But again, in certain presentations, you will have to clear the doubts in between. There is no other way out. Maybe that presentation is that sort of a presentation. Because presentations are of different types, right? Sometimes it can be professional presentations. So in such cases, maybe the doubts have to be cleared in between. So there is no way out. But if possible, try to confine doubts to the end. If it has to be cleared in between, clear it in between itself. In such cases, make an understanding about where you have finished with your presentation, where you have stopped with your presentation, and then go to the doubt clearance. Otherwise, what will happen, once you come back after the doubt clearance, you may be doubtful about yourself. Where did I stop? Now where should I continue with? So that should be clear with you. You should not be, you should not ask your audience, where did I stop? That's not good. You should have an understanding where you have stopped and clear the doubt in between, come back and proceed with your presentation. Follow all the tips and secret tips that we have discussed and make a wonderful presentation. Let the audience be attracted to you and let them be wanting to have more of your presentations. Have a nice day. Thank you.